Konnichiwa. Welcome to the Martial Maze. I'm with my partner in crime, Barakalad Shidoshi.
And I'm with my partner here, Israel Lopez Sensei.
All right, brother.
That's
two controversial episodes down, which is kind of leading us to where we are today, sir. First off, how you been? Greetings and salutations.
Hey, man, everything has been well. A lot has been on my mind. Just pondering a lot on everything right now. I've been falling behind in my studies, so just getting back into my sciences and really catching up on all of that. Getting into some pretty good reads, martial related wise, to to enrich more of the lessons that I'm teaching. I think it's important as martial art instructors that we just don't lean into our own, onto our own understandings. But it's important to go out there and seek and to build and to keep building upon, what your foundation is.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm digging that. Yeah. No, well, that's the difference between somebody who practices and somebody who studies.
Yes.
If we're really studying it, then we got to take the time out to re-educate and that's kind of where things have been over. Like I said, the last two episodes are very controversial. Your seminar was great for those that attended.
Thank you.
I got to say it again. I know we blessed it before, but we're gonna bless it one more time because it was really good. It was. You took something that was old,
yes,
right, and you brought it, and you said, hey, look, this is where we had armor. This is what they used to do. This is because we're not wearing this stuff anymore. This is what we do now,
right,
and stuff like that. So it was able to see the evolution step by step, and then you kept it simple, stupid. You started with the one thing, the one technique, or the one principle, and then gave different examples of how you would get to that same thing where it becomes uncontested.
Yes,
I dug that. I thought that was really great.
Yes.
I think I'm sorry, Haskins, since they missed it, because it would have been right up his alley.
Yeah. I wish he was there to observe.
It really would have been. It would have been right up his alley.
Yeah.
It really was. I was very proud of you.
Yes, thank you.
That was a very proud moment.
All I can say is that it's important, like the way that we learned from our teachers in the past. They were no bumbling idiots. Everything was taught for the time, and so we have to take that. It bothers me. Both sides are correct. When we talk about the traditionalist and the person that is the modern mind, and how they kind of bicker back and forth when they're both correct.
Yeah.
All right. And that's one thing that I try to get people to understand, that there's this middle road. You're right and you're right. But I do understand the modern mindset where most arts are kept as museum pieces, and they're great to look at, but you can't touch it.
Mm-hmm.
And so what good is an art that you can't touch?
Yeah.
you can't play with it. I don't know anything that you buy, even now. You get a new toy, you get a new game, you get something. What do? You unpack it, right?
Yeah.
And then you go home and you play it. Sometimes you don't even read the instructions because you're so giddy at the moment. All right? And you'll learn as you go.
Zartan.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So you just have a feeling because you've been playing games long enough. I'll get this. And then if you get stumped, then you might have to go online and look, hold on, let me go through a walkthrough to figure this out. Oh, okay, I got it. And then put the walkthrough away because you don't want to cheat through the whole game because it's giving you all the answers. So you equate that to martial arts. And it's that same kind of vibe where you got to take it home. You got to unpack it. It doesn't end in the dojo.
Yeah.
And and most people it doesn't, and I understand because you have hobbyists, and it's not in the hobbyists is not bad. It's you haven't made a way of life yet, and you have work, you have family, you have all kinds of other responsibilities, and so I always say to my students, family first, work first, martial arts second. Now, some may not agree with me on that, and I say no because you have to learn how to meld that into your life to be a part of that, so it becomes something every day that you're breathing and moving with. And it's not easy for most if you are just getting into something like this. And then you got those who are so zealous where they get in the art and they just want to go hamburger, and they want to train like 4 or 5 times out of the week, and it's like how many times you're on the mat and how many times you're doing this, that, and that's great too, but you're going to burn yourself out before the next oil change. And there's also recovery time. You're going to work your joints to death and all that. So you got to find the balance in all of this. We all go through this, whether you're going to the gym, it's time to lose weight, and you may go hard in the very beginning, but is that really realistic? Because how long can you keep that up?
Well, I think that sometimes has to do with the individual. I mean, it's that work-life balance.
Yeah.
I mean, it brings us to the topic of today's discussion. What are you here for?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a profound statement when you really think about it in the context of studying the martial sciences. Is what are you here for? Are you a hobbyist? Are you just here for just that? I just want to get in shape really fast. The guy who goes to the gym 5 million times a week, or you're replacing one drug with another. I always used to say one addiction for another. One addiction for another is something I typically say. I mean, as a martial artist, to make it our lifestyle, it's we typically go hard or we don't go at all. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's really hard nowadays to be cavalier about what we do, and then try to take ourselves serious at the same time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, we all know that you compete the way you train if you're in the sport, and you fight the way you train if you're talking about real life. Which I guess which kind of lends itself to the last 2 episodes, where if my goal in the context is to be just have good self protection, self defense, then almost everything I do should feed that.
Right.
Where if my goal is to, like most folks, is hobbyists. Most people are hobbyists. Let's be honest about that. Most that take on the study of martial arts, they go in and then some people just enjoy it so much where they want to be there 5 million days a week, or the culture of that particular gym or school is that of, hey man, we have classes every day of the week. And we're so flexible with our time. Like there's 10 classes in a day. You gonna waste. You know what I mean? I'm like, look, you pay your $250 a month. You can come here every day if you like.
Man. Hey, that's fine. You're retired. You got the time.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Or I will say that I do appreciate some of those gyms that are set up that way, where structured classes are from this time to this time, but they're open in such a way where we got open mat from this time to this time, or we got open here this time, and you can kind of make it your own. You kind of tailor make it to yourself. You find that more in like the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu clubs or boxing.
Open. My school is open right now. You look at the schedule on Google, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yeah.
And right now we're taking advantage and doing this podcast.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. As somebody comes walking in, and at that point, we're just doing a podcast while someone's training. Be like, yo, you all right? Let's go. Come on. You already know what you're supposed to do.
Just do it. Just go ahead and do it, and I'll critique you along the way.
That'd be funny right in the middle of the episode. You're in the middle of a rant. And then what you need to do is, hold on for a second. Are you calling that a sidekick? I need emotional content.
Knees over the feet. Knees track over the feet.
Yeah,
crying out loud, why are you buckling?
Yeah. What are you calling that? That's not a push-up.
Oh, man.
No, I mean, we poke fun at it. And there are times where I get in my feelings. Like, so lately I've been getting a lot of, I'll call it what it is, hate mail, about my opinions about folks studying martial arts. And I'm going to defend it. I'll defend it to the day I die. I'm like, you're learning combatives, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I don't know. You might have missed that in the flyer. The brochure didn't tell you we're learning how to fight. And if you can't fight after spending time at a school, then I would ask you, what were you there for?
Yeah.
What was the school's purpose?
Yeah. You
know what I'm saying? That'd be like me going to a gymnastics studio and never learning how to tumble. Right? I should be able to do some of that gymnastics, right? I mean,
right.
You spend all that time. I should be able to do a cartwheel or at least one tumble sauce, whatever I think it's called, the tumble sauce.
What the heck was that?
A cartwheel, tumble, yes. You know what I'm saying? I should be able to do something like that, right?
Well, no, you are able to. See, the thing is, and we agree on this, but, there's small, minor disagreements. And once again, people as humans, the way our brains work, the chemistry that takes place in our heads on why we make the choices we make. Why do we do that? We've made a lot of messed up choices, some good choices, and we learn from these steps along the way. And other folks, when they are looking online for somewhere to study martial arts, in their mind they have their own mindset. Some of them, you would think it's as simple as how we think, combatives, right? But not as easy as that. For some folks, it's like, hey, I really love kung fu. All right. And it's more being an enthusiast. All right. And so they're like, I'm not concerned about fighting in the street. I never fought. I'm not out there fighting. I'm living my life in a way, like we say, where violence misses them. Okay. And so they're not concerned about that at all. They just think it's really cool, and they want to learn the history, the culture of it, and they want to learn how to apply it, but within that school and that context. And that's it. So they can perform it. They can jump, flip, kick, do all the things that resemble that animal, that characteristic, but they don't have no clue on how to use it for real.
Well, I guess at that point, I mean, there was the Peking Opera.
Yes.
We got Jackie Chan. We got
yeah.
Okay, so they don't call the Peking Opera martial arts. I don't think.
No,
to this date, right? No, but I mean, but yeah, you're opera. You're learning to dance. Listen. I love wearing them suits.
Stuff.
There's a suits of armor from back in the day where they put on the suits of armor and they run out and they do the reenactments. They're beating on each other. Yeah. I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love to do it. Would love to learn how to do it, like just run around that armor or do the Civil War reenactments
or do the dragon, the lion dance.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, I would love to do all of those things, but at no time will I confuse myself and call it martial arts. I understand well, actually, it should be martial arts if you really think about it. If I'm doing a reenactment, I'm going over a military stratagem that was used at the Battle of Bunker Ridge. You know what I'm saying? I'm making that up. Hopefully there was a Battle of Bunker Ridge. But, I'm like, Battle of Rock Ridge, right?
Or Hamburger Hill.
I made a Blazing Saddles reference. But the point I'm making,
I think it was Bunker Hill.
Well, yeah. Well, I said that. Yeah, Bunker Hill. I think it's Bunker Hill. I said Hamburger Hill. But either way, the point I'm making is at that point, I am doing military stratagems, right? And of course, we already know the outcome of that. Then why aren't we calling that martial arts? You know what I mean? But we don't call that martial arts because in our minds we go, even if you're learning Kung Fu and you're doing it for I want to learn the art and I want to learn all that other good stuff. The main idea when you go into any Kung Fu school is they market it as a viable way of self-defense and you're learning to fight. We're going to teach you this form of boxing. Because that's what it really is. We're going to teach you Hung Gar boxing.
Right.
We're going to teach you long fist boxing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we're going to show you how all of these things work in real time in the real world.
Right.
And yes, you'll learn the beautiful form and all that other good stuff. So you'll get that. That's the byproduct.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You'll get all of those other things. But the main protagonist, to the best of my knowledge, every Kung Fu school that I've ever walked into has been, oh, no, we're teaching you to fight.
Yeah.
Make no mistake, you're learning how to fight here. You know what I'm saying? And so I guess the point I'm making to you is even if the mindset was, I just really want to learn Kung Fu, you're like, yeah, I get to learn this Kung Fu. I learn these beautiful forms. I got to hold was it the Shintao sword? I forgot what it's called, like the Tai Chi sword.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff like that. And I get to move it around and kind of do all this crazy stuff, but I can also defend myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I need to in the real world.
Right.
Or at least that should be what's supposed to happen.
Some of these arts are taught, it's all about the context. And some of these arts are only designed to deal with like-minded individuals. So it's not even to deal with just the actual person out here in the street, because if you look at how, and it's really the experience of the Sifu, all right? And so if they're going to design their curriculum to actually deal with the common strikes that are done out here, great, okay? And also there's a distinction between if you're going to a school and you're learning Wado Karate-do, all right? And if you're learning that, and then under it, it says self-defense. Okay? You have the system, and then the self-defense is separated. That's something different. It's part of, we're going to take those elements. Let's just say it's like confectioner's sugar and to make frosting. All right. And those, you have the sugar, the powder, and all that, and you're making the frosting. It's not the cake. All right. And the icing doesn't make the cake. It's the little sweetness on the cake. And that's what would be self-defense.
Well, I feel like the only issue I've ever had with that is a lot of those times when you look at what's being taught or passed off as self-protection, self-defense, it, for lack of a better term, is just garbage. Or it's so removed, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. Look, these are best practices that need to happen. It's all perishable. Anything physical is perishable. And I feel like, again, in like our last segment, Haskins Sensei really touched base on that. If you're teaching good self-protection, right, and stuff like that, then you're talking about civil liability. You're talking about all these other things come into place. And if you're not having that conversation, again, what we found over the years, for those of us that have been doing this for a long time, and because I run a really good self-protection, self-defense program, and I would argue it's right up there. It's top tier. And what we found is the information was the most important part.
Yes.
The transitional space, making these things your best practices, backing into a driveway, not pulling in forward, always being aware, understanding what's the difference between a safe space and a non-safe space. Like all those things, just things that we take for granted every day. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. Those were the things that were the life. Those are the things that if you asked a woman who took my program 10 years from now, that's the stuff she would regurgitate to you right away.
Right.
The physical stuff, the intervention, if you will, that's all perishable.
Yeah.
Because you need to be practicing it, and you need to be practicing it all the time.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Or you lose it.
Yeah.
You'll still remember the information. Actually, there's a saying in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or grappling that if you have to think about it, it's too late.
Yeah. Yeah. And we all know that. And so, you also chimed in on something, before, like, a lot of the self-defense we see out there is crap because, what we do for a living, a lot of the self-defense that I've seen as of yet are designed for tournaments to win trophies. So they look like something you would see on a movie.
Konnichiwa. I'm Israel Lopez Sensei of the Martial Maze. Right now, you might be asking yourself, what is the Martial Maze? Well, I'm here to tell you. The Martial Maze is a martial arts podcast that deals with the complexities and pitfalls that one encounters when navigating the field of study that is martial arts. These discussions are from the points of view of actual martial artists, and we cover it all, with the occasional special guest, who of course are masters in their fields of study. From the president of the United States Judo Association to karate and kung fu royalty. Myself and Barakulat Shidoshi have over 40 plus years of martial experience. So please join us as we make our way through the Martial Maze. New episodes drop weekly, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast.
How many times when you learn these techniques does your partner hit you back?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like that's the reality to it, right? I mean, I get some of the techniques that are simple, stupid, and again, it should never be complicated. It should not be a complicated assignment with your self-defense, your intervention, because again, it relies more on gross motor skills and a lot less on fine motor skills because you're under duress. But yeah, win. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. Like, are you doing that smack? I remember when you were working with Zahilia Anderson out in California, and she did the thing where you both were laying down.
Uh-huh.
And she addressed it,
Yeah.
Right away. Like, look, this, boom, okay, this is when it happened.
Yeah.
So you got to ask yourself. It was a really good demonstrator. I really enjoy her. I really do. She's one of my faves. She really is though too. She's bad. She Black Panther on Long Beach, bro. Like, she's one of my faves.
Yeah.
what I watched and what I took away from her approach to her self defense, and again, it's constant practice.
Yeah.
But having the uki be making the attempt each time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying and stuff. And how many places actually do that?
Right. It's all about intent. And you're only going to be as good as your partner. If your partner's intent to attack you isn't sound, and we're not talking blast the person the first time around, you go slow, learn to control, okay? But your intent has to be real.
Yeah.
All right. You really need to be attempting to grab that person, taking that person down, struggling to get away, to know what it's like to fight a resisting person. We say this pressure test. There's certain things when it comes to the art, we don't pressure test it in a way. I know I don't do it in my school because you're learning the art. All right. So what it is it's more about proper eye distancing, speed, timing. All of these things need to be fine and accurate. And so when you're doing that perfect kotegeage, it just looks it looks beautiful. There is no let me resist it or whatever, because then accidents happen and bones break. All right. So when you're doing joint manipulations like that, no, we have to range that based on your level, your experience, whether you're beginner, intermediate, or advanced. When it comes to self-defense, there has to be a struggle play. You have to add the pressure there, okay? Because it's a different form here. We're talking about surviving dangerous situations. So if we're working on the ground, we're going to go slow. You're going to understand the concept on why this works and why you should do this. If you create space, you fill the space. All these other things, working your frames, and now feeling away. Well, I can't. Well, she's small. I don't want to put my weight on her. No, put your weight on her, because she has to learn how to frame, or there's nothing there for her to feel. All right, this is a feeling art.
Well, like a case in point, over the weekend I was watching a friend of mine teach. He runs the cardio kickboxing class, and he was at the end. He always adds in a little real life self defense, and the technique he was showing was sound. It was just a really good way, gi-less, to get a choke. Utilizing the person's clothes and stuff like that. Beautiful from bottom position. Beautiful. I swear by the technique, it works 1,000%. And meanwhile, I'm watching these ladies work, and I'm thinking to myself, however, how many times are they gonna practice that?
Yeah.
To
get it perfect.
To get it right. Well, you got to. You have to continuously practice it. Like, I watch a lot of these women that do the grappling and stuff like that, and I'm like, again, like kind of like Dr. Odette always says, you got to keep that knife sharp.
Yes.
So you got to really spend the time practicing this. And so even like I said, my women's self-protection, self-defense, I always say women because most of it's always women who take it, but it's really designed for anyone. And one of the big things there are the physical techniques. There's only a series of 10. There's 10, you know what I'm saying, that deal with degrees of acts of habitual violence. But this is the template. And these are the best practices that you can kind of put into your everyday, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And you only to a point, because some of the stuff you obviously need a partner to constantly work. But here are the solo drills that you can do to keep 5 minutes a day, to kind of keep the muscle memory, to keep it there. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of took the idea from Matt Larson when he used to fight our modern Army combatives, for those that don't know. And what he said back in the day is that the reason why most martial programs didn't work for the modern military was because it didn't fit the culture of the modern military. So what they did with modern Army combatives is they've made it fit the culture. They designed a system that fits the culture of the military. And so I came away with that interview, which, by the way, is a good interview, was when I was developing this program, is I wanted something that would fit the culture of women, or what women would be dealing with my usual day, or just anyone in general. Like I said, because this is really geared around everyone. You know what I'm saying? It was meant to fit everyone, because we can't just put it into a box and say, oh, well, this is just for women. Even though, like I said, the women are the ones who particularly take it. But again, everything was geared with that being the context. I needed something that they can constantly practice the physical part, because that's the hardest part.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So here's something, and I kept it short, simple, stupid. These are the techniques. There's 5 standing, 5 ground. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. And again, not rocket science, because what we're banking on is the good self-protection.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what we're banking on. The intervention, and you can catch a fish. You can catch a fish with, like, people, kotagayashis don't work. Sanku doesn't work. They do work, especially on fish, especially when somebody doesn't know it's coming.
Right.
And stuff like that. Yes, yeah, plenty
they're
of times.
not supposed to know it's coming.
Well, that's the point. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of good self-defense techniques are really geared more towards or around your attacker not perceiving you as a real threat.
Right.
Because again, if I perceive you as a real threat, my attack is going to be very different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If I think for 1 second you could handle your business to defend yourself, do you think I'm going to just come grab you? That's not going to happen. I'm going to tase you. I'm going to, there are other things that would take place, right, if we're really addressing that in the mindset and stuff like that. So,
I'd like to equate it to like being a good magician. I mean, it sucks if you know what the magician is about to do. Yeah. Oh, I know that trick. All right,
I see you palming it.
Yeah. You see, and that's how people do for self-defense. Oh, that doesn't work. I see what's going on there, and so you get that kind of energy, and it's like, no, you're not supposed to know. The ace is up the sleeve. All right, it's just listen. A saying that I say to my students all the time: it's not about what you want; it's what they give you.
Yeah.
And that's it. Don't wait for them like I'm expecting them to do this or that. No, it doesn't work like that in the real world.
No.
All right. Whatever they give you, you take it. That's how nature works. All right. And as long as you understand the tool that you're using, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I always say that's advanced methodology, or just an advanced way of thinking when we start setting traps and stuff like that. I know that if I do this and I catch that body in this position, there's only 1 or 2 ways he can go.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? But now I'm thinking more as a full-on martial artist. I'm not thinking, like where I've spent years to develop. I mean, there's shit that we can do. Like there's a sambo player that I know. We did an episode with him, Sample 7, Andre, and there are things that he can do that feel like they shouldn't work. With the 2 thumbs, for crying out loud. When he spun my ass around, I'm like, it should not work. But he's been doing it for so long, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. The principles are sound. I mean, but if somebody else that doesn't have enough time in tries to do that very same thing, it's not working.
It's not working.
But when he does it, I've spun around. I'm on the ground. I'm looking up at him like, whoa, what the hell? These are thumbs? And he's like, yep, thumbs.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, with that being said, I mean, there's that.
Yeah, no, it happens. It happens. It was one time I was playing in, this was in Brooklyn, and we were in the park. I was with another martial brother, and we were doing a little light randori. And, he got in a real good grip, right? And he did a seonage. And it caught him off guard because he got me really wicked quick. And so my reaction was front hand spring. All right, so right when he flipped me, whoop, bap, and I went right over and twisted on him and grabbed him and pulled him down into guard. And he was like, "Oh!" He's like, "That was really good. I didn't expect that." Well, that was my first reaction. All right. And so once again, that first reaction, so yes, I could have just landed down and, in Ukimi, but I was like, no. Because the way that we were taught, the way my sensei taught me, was like, no, you got debris and all kinds of things and bodies on the ground. All right. So we're not going to the ground. If you have to go to the ground, you go to the ground. If you got you, he got you. But if there's a way where you can orient your body, and that's learning how to receive, all right, that's the whole point. If you know how to receive, you should be able to cover.
Well, that's it's funny we're touching base on this. I had a conversation with my students about that with Ukemi Waza, and why we spend so much time on it. And people get bored with Ukemi Waza.
Yes, they do.
But really, the reality, and I feel like again, the sport of judo has made folks lazy, where they concentrate more on throwing and a lot less on receiving. And I will tell you that Once you have good and solid ukemi, you're no longer worried about someone throwing you. You can work with anybody at any rank, at any level, and be all right because you know how to turn, flip, and maneuver your body in the air. You are in control. Look, Tori's job is to throw you the best way they know how. So if that's to make a pothole out of your body, you know what I mean? But that's what Tori's going to do. That's the goal. Now, Uke is the one receiving. Is look, man, it's your job to realize that malicious intent, that emotional content's happening with that throw, and angle your body in such a way where you can control how you fall, the flow of the fall.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
keep
stuff
you
like
safe.
that. Yeah. Even if they pinwheel makikomi with you, you should be able to receive it.
Yeah.
And
it sucks.
Yeah, and we pride ourselves. I know in our school on that we really do. We pride ourselves on making sure that we have good ukemi.
Yeah.
And I said, by orange belt, like I remember I wasn't allowed to throw for a year. And Kenny would I could uchikomi, I could do everything, but I was not allowed to throw. I had to receive. I received for a whole year. I had more frequent flyer miles than United Air, JetBlue combined. And so, but
That's
it made it
beautiful.
so that no matter who I worked out with, I was a lot less worried. I could spend more time focusing on the technique, focusing on the throw. Than
being afraid.
than being afraid of receiving the throw, right? I'm like, because you learn to throw the 3 ways. You learn it by watching it, by receiving it, and then by doing it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But if you're scared to receive it, you never actually feel what's happening to you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All you know is, he's got my arm in here, and I'm trying to walk my body around him and stuff like that.
It was funny. I was going over that yesterday. We were going over a technique. This was for the self-defense class, right? But the same students who do self-defense also do the art, all right? So we were doing a hip throw. And so, give some pointers. I was like, come on, grab me by the hip, all right? Now, for my students, I'm like, think doing a rollout, okay? And that's when they made the connection because they were just kind of like letting them buck them up and then both their legs were just kind of flapping over. And so I'm like, think rolling out. So you see when he grabs me, you see how he bucks me up? It's like I look up briefly and then I turn to the side like I'm about to roll out and then my leg anchors and it comes around, all right? It makes the throw more efficient, but also too, it keeps you safe. And trust me, it changes how Tori feels you. All right, it's like night and day from you feeling like a ton of bricks to feeling like as light as a feather. All right, and it's like almost you weren't even there. All right, and so when they started implementing that, they were like, "Holy smokes! Wow, it really changed everything." I was really struggling to lift him up because he was 200 and some pounds, but as soon as he anchored his leg, he just went over and just, wow, this is amazing. And I was like, you see, I know you've been telling me this for about 2 years now, but I'm finally now connecting the dots.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Ukemi was is the thing, man. Make or break. And it simulates, again, maximum efficiency, minimum strength and effort. Maximum efficiency of movement. Right. And so, and the only reason why you feel the heavy person or feel the heavy guy, it's geared around either they're bottom heavy, you know what I'm saying, or they're not committing to the action, you know what I mean, or you're learning it in its step-by-step instruction. Right. But even then, when uki is to a point where they can receive properly, they're light as a feather. Yeah. Almost all the time, which simulates real life. I mean, there are plenty of times where I've thrown people in real life and they were just on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Like I got there so fast I couldn't tell you what I hit them on. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. And again, kind of the same way we talk about when we talk about framing in real fighting. It's the person attacking me that really creates the frame for me. Like I pull them into the clinch. You know what I'm saying? And they're pulling away to pummel me if I'm in bottom position, which creates then my frame. Right. I no longer have to create the frame like in the sport context.
Yeah.
Well,
they
the same
do the
thing.
work for you.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing with judo. When you learn that judo is a completely defensive martial system when you utilize it in real life. Because, again, when you're now to get that kazushi, the guy was attacking. Yeah. He came at me. I'm redirecting his power and energy. I added to it. You know what I'm saying?
It's true self-defense. When we talk about true, you're
learning
learning true offense.
Well, listen, when I caught somebody in real life on an uki-otoshi, I was mesmerized because for half my whole life, I did not think uki-otoshi worked. Like, I just really didn't. I was like, we learned it Nagi no Kata. That's the first throw. And you kind of, yeah, I guess, but who does that? Like, who's going to really be pushing, like, until I actually,
Someone did it.
Teddy B's, getting somebody out the bar. They came at me. I wheeled, boom, and just, boom. And I'm, wow. It actually, well, it worked. Like,
You don't have time to be in awe at that moment, but
yeah, but like it's
something
like
to reflect on.
Yeah, boom, and it worked with that. Wow, and I'm like, there's even certain throws that you realize if the person doesn't do a proper aerial, they land on their face.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. You're just kind of like, huh.
Oh, and that's oof.
Hello, this is Israel Lopez Sensei of the Martial Maze. If you're a fan of our podcast or our YouTube channel, The Martial Maze Presents Modern Combatives, did you know that you could support future episodes on both platforms by becoming a subscriber to our Patreon? Membership entitles you to exclusive Martial Maze content not shared on either the podcast or our YouTube channel, The Martial Maze Presents Modern Combatives, as well as limited edition only available to our Patreon subscribers merchandise. That's exclusive stuff, y'all. Where there are 3 different tiers to choose from, bronze, silver, or gold memberships, gold being the very best. No matter what tier, and to show our appreciation for you, the subscriber, and to celebrate our 4th season of the Martial Maze podcast, we are giving away to one lucky subscriber every month free Martial Maze merchandise. That merchandise is anything that we sell on our Martial Maze page. That's www.martialmaze.com. A new winner will be chosen each month through the duration of 2024. That's our way of sincerely saying thank you. But please keep in mind, you can't win if you're not a subscriber. That's the Martial Maze at Patreon. And once again, thank you for becoming a subscriber, and thank you for listening.
But circling back, though, for those that are tuning in, with the topic today is, why are you here? What are you here for? We're reminiscing and we're talking about our different systems and different disciplines, but ultimately, I guess it does go back to the person who is looking to study.
Yeah.
And I do understand that, yes, there are people who have no desire to fight at all, but understand that if you're getting into martial arts, any kind of martial art, that's got to somehow be, I can't understand or fathom why that wouldn't be in the forefront of someone's mind.
I know, but you got folks who just live in black belt theater.
Well, that's, again, I'm like kabuki theater. Can we? I'm like those. I'm like, and don't get me wrong, those. But at no time are we calling that martial art. I guess that is my biggest problem with that.
LARPers.
That's my biggest peeve with the martial community is that at that point, it's you're no longer learning martial arts. You're learning theater. You're learning to emulate, these movements because you have nothing, you have nothing that explains how to actually use these, right? However, the issue I have even with that is, all these martial studios are claiming they're teaching fighting. They're teaching combatives. So, again, if you walk in and your mindset is, look, I just really love the way they pull the bow backwards, I forgot what that's actually called, the Japanese art and stuff
judo.
Like that, where they pull the bow and all that other good stuff. And what I would really love to learn that. But ultimately, if I walked in and take the class, I'm still learning archery. I'm still going to learn, hey, man, look, you're going to learn this. This is, yes, it's beautiful. Keep your back straight, this, that, and the third. But I'm still learning to put an arrow through something or someone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm going to look amazing doing it.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
On
It's
horseback.
Yeah, on horseback with my long flowing hair that I don't have. But in my mind, I'm envisioning me on horseback. I got half samurai gear on, long flowing hair. Well, I have that high ponytail and stuff, a Sasuke moment, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And I'm pulling it back, and I'm just releasing, right? But yeah, why are you here? You know, and
it's a very complicated topic because every instructor has their reasons, and so unless we're going to sit here and listen to millions of them, which is not going to happen, we got to just let people do what they do, and our job is to educate our listeners to know what to look for and the right questions to ask. So that way they know if they're choosing an art, it's going to be beneficial for them. Because listen, the martial arts school you're going to, it's not called an opera theater. It's not a dance school or any of those things. You're there to learn an ancient combative art, period. Okay? And so depending on how that instructor chooses to transmit that art to their students, it could be easily night and day. Okay, listen, traditional martial artists, I hear people talk about it, all the live long day. But Muay Thai is traditional Southeast Asian martial arts, all right? And they get busy there. They are fighting there,
Yeah.
okay? And so, once again, it's the art, it's the culture behind the art, it's the experience of the instructor who is teaching that art. And so, yes, something can look like a dance. It can look like something you would see in the ballet. But no, this is how it's applied for real. Okay? But also, too, and this is the job for instructors, is that it's important to teach something that is the foundation of that system, but to also adapt it to modern times. All right, so they can use that, and the arts were supposed to evolve. Period. And we
all
keep
fighting
talking
systems
about that.
evolve. Yeah,
Yes, they all are supposed to evolve. And
Yeah.
so the foundation, of course, the alphabets, the ABCs, that's the root of it all. That's fine. You teach that root. They have to have that foundation. But you have to evolve it. You have to show where it came from. When we're teaching history class, anything about our culture, all of that, it starts from the root. You don't even know why they do that until you go to the root. And you be like, wow, I didn't know our people used to do. Oh, that's why grandma used to do this, or used to eat peanuts and put it in the Coca-Cola and this, that, and the third. And now you start to put it all together. But some of us start right in the middle, and then we go backwards, and then some of us teach from the very beginning and move forwards. And sometimes we do that. I do that in my school, depending when I get new students, right? I start the new student where the rest of the class is already at.
Yeah, that makes
all
sense,
right,
yeah.
versus bringing the whole class to the very beginning. I don't do that. And then I give them, and then I work with them personally and give them and get them up to speed. So it depends on how you do it, but as long as they get there somewhere, they got to get there.
Yeah.
All right. The problem is that they're not getting there and they're staying stuck.
Oh, yeah. Or you got like I said, the places that are masquerading and calling it combatives, but they're not teaching combatives at all. And they say, well, not everybody's here for that. And I'm like, but yeah, I get it. But that's what you're claiming to be.
Right.
You're claiming to be a martial arts school. You teach the martial arts, you do martial sciences. And again, where I want to, I guess my issue has always been, and I always bring it back to something like boxing. We seem to understand that just fine in the context of like Muay Thai and boxing, right? If you aren't learning certain things in a Muay Thai gym, if you're not sparring, then you're really not learning Muay Thai. You're probably doing like a cardio kickboxing class and stuff where you get to punch it like 12 rounds, like they have the gym,
It's
where
fun.
it's fun. And deep down inside, you know that. You know what I'm saying? Because you're never sparring. You're never getting in the ring with anybody. And, yeah, you're learning how to punch and kick, but you're also the other part of learning that is receiving it.
Right.
Right? What good is having that information if the first time somebody kicks you in your leg, you
Curling fetal.
Yeah, you curl in the fetal position, and so all that knowledge has gone to waste, right? So again, you kind of the consumer knows that. You know what I'm saying? At some point, or at least should know that, or at least the person running the gym should tell them that. Same thing with boxing. If you're not getting into the ring sparring, then you're not really boxing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We know that. Like
Right.
that's part of training as a boxer, or just boxing in
gotta get in
general.
the
Yeah, you
ring.
got to get in the ring and spar and stuff like that. You got to taste it a little bit, right? And it's easy to make that that analogy, and folks get it right away. They're like, oh yeah, but when it comes for whatever reason back to karate or jiu-jitsu or any of the martial arts, kung fu, we all of a sudden give it a pass, and we say, no, well, it's about the culture and the art, and we want to be beautiful snowflakes.
Well, that's because the dough came in.
and stuff like
The
that.
Budo.
The dough has always been there.
No,
though.
the dough is there, but the dough was there. Like even back in the warring times, it was there, but not there. It was killing. People were killing. All right, and so whether you were just and plus being spiritual, that's part of a culture. So it's nothing new under the sun. It's not something to teach. You grew up in it.
Well, yeah, but again, I mean, you're still learning military stratagems, and you're also learning like just hand-to-hand combatives, right? So with that being said, yes, you still need something that's going to balance it out, which is the live right, this, that, and the third, all that other good stuff. But ultimately, it still circles back to that core thing. The core thing is combatives. We're still doing military-style combatives, and if we're not, it's kabuki theater.
No, I would say this, yes. And a little bit different because, listen, when Budo came into play, from Bujutsu to Budo, we're talking during the era of peace, being civilized, all right? So the arts even changed. So all the jutsu arts, all of that became do arts. They all changed. There was all this philosophical information, all that intertwined because now teachers were actually able to think and ponder on what they were doing. So the whole energy of it just changed along the way. And so we're going to learn how to deal with violence humanely.
Well, that's again. We've evolved the combatives, but the combatives are still there.
Right.
The meat and potatoes is still, I'm going to strike, kick, I mean, this guy just said strike and kick, which is the same thing.
I'm going to punch and kick.
I'm going to punch and kick, grapple and throw.
Right.
I'm going to address violence. All of these systems, no matter how civilized they became, still addressed violence in the same way because violence hasn't really changed. In fact, actually, it's shortened. Like there were like I forgot how many acts of habitual violence, like 5 million, like 35 or something like that. And then it's gotten smaller and smaller and smaller, based to its core. These and everything else is
because we got laws. We got laws.
Yeah, we got laws. One would make an argument to go back to a brother from McDojo Life was talking about it. That we're already breaking the law. When you get into a physical altercation, you've already broken the law. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we do have rules, and people just choose to break the rules.
Right,
but
you have the legal.
So
you have the legal right to defend yourself.
Yes, you do. Yes.
You have the legal right to defend yourself. There is, in some states, you can formally make a citizen's arrest. All right, so there are laws that as long as you abide by them, you're perfectly fine. Now, going out and starting a problem, an altercation with someone because you don't like what they're wearing or whatever, now you're breaking the law. But if some aggressor or assailant's coming to you, harming you, you have every right to defend yourself. Now, the question is, necessary force? Was it necessary force? Were you using deadly force? Mm-hmm. Well, now, those are things that you will pick at. And it's important that you teach your students the difference between what is necessary force, what is deadly force, And so that way they're able to make those distinctions because versus you're teaching someone and when I get upset, I just see red. And then before you know it, the person's dead. And now your self-defense, so-called self-defense turned into a homicide. And now you're going to jail.
But again, it goes back to the self-protection part. So like Haskin Sensei, perfectly eloquent. I lost the word, but
eloquently.
Eloquently, yes, eloquently. As Haskins Sensei eloquently said in the last episode, again, that's not effective self-protection. You know what I'm saying? If I'm striking somebody and putting them in the hospital or killing them, you know what I'm saying? That because what happens, the byproduct of that is I go to jail.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even if I may be in the right, a jury of my peers might not see it that way.
Right.
I mean, especially you think about now when somebody finds out that martial arts, even right now. So it's right now. There's a thing with that's been floating in the ether about the blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Mm-hmm. And folks going to court, because what they claim that a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they're saying, well, no, you have a heightened level of ability.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So with the grappling, so you don't get the pass anymore. You don't get to say, well, you could have stopped. You didn't. Yeah. You chose not to.
Right.
And stuff. So there's stuff coming in the ether with that, which is just still weird, just to hear about things like that going on. But yes, that's not effective self-protection. Mm-hmm. If all I had in the wheelhouse was I broke this person down, they're in the hospital, and now I'm doing 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, because now I'm fighting every day.
Yeah.
I think I said that in the episode too.
Yeah. It's just about it's just crossing your T's and dotting your I's. I teach my students, listen, you get into an altercation, you did everything you could for self-protection, and it failed. All right. Now you have to get physical, and you dominated. Okay. Now, if it is a situation, it doesn't matter. You always dial 911. All right. You always notify law enforcement. Period. You give a report. All right. Cover your butt. Remember, there's cameras everywhere. Even when you think they're not seeing you, they're seeing you. All right. And so the last thing you want is to get a summons one day because you ran from the scene. You took the person down. You ran from the scene. Then all of a sudden he made a report or someone made a report or they flipped the story on the other end knowing that person was the aggressor. Mm-hmm. All right. And now they're coming to your house knocking on the door because you ran from the scene.
Yeah.
All right. So we have to be responsible citizens. So if you're taking someone down, all right, make sure you call the cops.
Well, yeah, I mean, so if they're
give
out
a formal
and stuff
report.
Like that. Yeah.
All right, cover your butt.
When we talk about why are you here, it's like learning a gun, right? So I go get my permit to carry. I start going to the range. Mm-hmm. I might just want to shoot guns. I like shooting guns. I want to shoot different guns. I'm shooting guns for fun. But I know that I'm still learning a deadly weapon. I'm still learning how to use something that can instantly take a life, right? And that's always in the back of my mind. It's always, actually not even in the back, it's always clear in the front of my mind. You know what I'm saying? Even as a gun enthusiast. Hey man, I'm just, whoa, did you see how many, we shooting watermelon today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna hit them cat, I bet I can get that cantaloupe from 30 yards out. You know what I'm saying? Whatever.
Yeah.
But the point I'm making is it's always in the forefront of my mind. And I take issue, again, when in the martial sciences or the martial arts that's not in the forefront of someone's mind.
Right.
That you are still learning a combative system. You're still learning a system that is designed specifically for hurting another human being.
Right.
Period.
Right.
Like that's it. That's that. There's no wiggle room there. I mean, if I'm learning Kaji Kempo, Kung Fu, Hungar. Well, I'm naming off Kung Fu, but Hungar or Long Fist. Judo, Jitsu, no matter where you Aikijitsu, no matter where you want to, even Aikido, believe it or not, still had the concept is still there, clear and present. Like, look, man, I've actually Aikido's a little weird though, because it's like, well, I'm gonna throw him, but make sure he don't get hurt when I throw him.
Yeah, humanely.
Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of redirect his energy over there.
Once again, those dough arts. Some of those dough arts.
The guy was like, listen, man, we ain't trying to hurt you today. I understand that you may be trying to hurt me, so I'm going to save you from yourself. In fact, we're going to call this technique the straitjacket.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're a kind person, man. You're a really kind person.
Yeah, but it's still in the forefront
right.
of the Aikido practitioner's mind.
Right.
Now, I get nowadays where some folks, unfortunately, they just really like wearing the hamaka pants, and they like the way it looks. It looks very pretty. It looks very soft and eloquent, and it loses its the violence in which it was derived from. You know what I'm saying? And once you remove that, And you take that element out, now you just got beautiful dancing. I mean, at that point, I'm like, it ceases to be a martial system.
Right,
Well, and
right.
people say the same thing about Tai Chi, right? And they're like, well, no, but here's the thing. They took the context. They took something, because if you speed up the technique, if you speed up to real time, well, all of a sudden you end up with a combative system right away.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Right.
I'm going to make jokes about David Carradine in a second. But it's done slow. And the context is this is for health, so my body's more erect. I'm standing like where if I was fighting, I would be smaller, making a
Right.
smaller target. Like there's just things
Right.
I would just do, right?
Right.
And stuff like that. So I get all of that. But my issue still goes back to all of these different systems, all of these different folk still call what they do martial arts. And martial arts is art of war. The art of making war. That's what that word means. I'm sorry, I didn't make up the word.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, that's what that word means. Martial arts, the art of war.
Right.
And okay, so we're making war. And what do we see in war? Well, combatives is found in war.
Right.
Military stratagems is found in war.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So we're doing all of that, and we're claiming, because that's the big thing, because the average person who walks into your school is looking, yes, they're looking for the art, but they're also looking for because it's the physical stuff. What do I need this stuff for? What would I ever need this for?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, again, well, I love guns. I like the way guns look. Different kind of guns. I turn into Sam if I'm down in Florida. You know what I'm saying? But I know what they're for.
Right.
I know what I'm using this for. What I may need this for at some point.
Right.
That's my only argument. That's my pet peeve, and that's what people get. I will not change. I will not change this mindset at all. I haven't had anybody yet to turn my head and go, well, no, but you need to look at it like this, and I just go back to it's combatives, my man. I'm like, I don't, why did you want to study this in the first place? What was the main reason? And if you're telling me to get in shape, you could have went to the gym. There is CrossFit. You know what I'm saying? Pickleball. Right? Or if you say to me, well, I just really thought it was very beautiful. It was very pretty when I saw it. I'm like, well, that must have been one hell of a demonstration. I wish I could have saw that demonstration, but I thought it was very beautiful. It was very eloquent, and I wanted to learn that. Well, we do. There's the Chinese opera. There's the guys that wear the suit of armor. I'm like, that's all I'm saying about it, man. I know it sounds like a dead horse, but it's just, oh God.
Right. I would say that we have to look at it on many different levels. What you're talking about is the very physical level. So we have like kuden, oral tradition. That's just from my mouth to your mouth. And then we have taiden, okay, which is physical transmission, okay? And that's the actual hand-to-hand combatives to work, okay? And then we have shin, all right, shinden, all right? And so that means heart-to-heart transmission, okay? And so we have to understand that there are many angles to look at all of this. Like just think of a crime scene and something took place outdoors. And so you witnessed the crime. There was a couple of people who witnessed the crime. You were on your porch, so you seen it directly head on. That person was in the attic looking through his window, so he seen it from above. And that person was down about at the corner, And so you get different stories on how something took place. And so with the martial arts, it really depends. When we talk about war, we're talking you're talking about the physical aspect of it. And so there's this intelligence, this mental part of war, that this genius that comes with this, that you don't see. You see it play out, but it's something that's very internal. And so you're learning how to work with that world. There's that inner world when it comes to combatives. And so some of us are very focused on the physical aspects, and there's this inner aspect of it that most people miss because their primary focus is what they can see, touch, and taste. Okay? And so when you understand how war is created, in general, it starts for tit for tats. I mean, we're talking even as simple as someone on the wrong block. Okay, someone wearing the wrong colors. No more different than back then. Someone was wearing the wrong brand. Okay, and just like, oh, you're part of the Amoto family. Oh, okay. And it's enough to gain the attention, but it's very psychological. And so if we're going in their beast mode mind, all right, without all of those other components there, you're easy. It's easy for you or your army to fall through the cracks.
But again, it goes back to we're still talking about combatives.
We're talking about combatives.
Yeah, but actually, no, we're actually talking at that point more military strategy.
Yes, we're talking
like
about
so,
all of that and then some, because it really ties in really deep. And so, like, even today, we have our soldiers, and not just soldiers. You have PTSD. That's very real. I got students who have it, okay, and they come here to work it out, and they have therapists too, but this helps them, okay, and so and they're here because you need that refinement, and so yes, the physical aspect, but also making the connections with it from your heart, like when you're fighting for your land, you love your land, you'll do anything for your soil. So there's that aspect too that gets you there on that front line. And then also your spiritual refinement, because sometimes not knowing what's on the other side, all right, why did you go to the other side? You know you're going to the other side, all right? Are you really ready to go to the other side?
Well,
all right?
Yeah, so but like I said, it goes back to that is what the folks are claiming they're teaching, but they're not teaching that. They're not even teaching that part.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. So it's like, okay, so the physical stuff is so I have the information for myself in the beginning. A martial scientist or somebody who actually studies martial arts starts to break down the military stratagems behind it. Again, like you said, being able to recognize when somebody has malicious intent or somebody's looking at you some kind of way, or navigating like I said, through the transitional spaces, right? Good self-protection. Right? I mean, these are byproducts, you know what I'm saying, that come through the meditation, come through the actual study of, and these are the byproducts. You end up with better, you're heightened, you can do a lot more of this.
Yes.
And you understand it. Now, we all start off in the physical, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then some schools teach both at the same time. You're learning the physical, like, again, we do it in judo all the time. How do I get him to grab me here? How do I negate that? How do I catch this space? And when we're watching from the sidelines coaching and stuff like that, now we're paying attention to how that entry happened, how they got there, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that, and so you're kind of doing all these things all at once, where most martial arts systems claim that they're doing just that. Like, well, no, we do the physical, but we also get you with the better awareness, this, that, you know what I mean? And you watch in real time. Well, no, you're not really doing that. Because, again, if you aren't teaching combatives, right, or you're claiming you are, but you're not, you know what I'm saying? If you're not really teaching combatives and everybody's there just learning this beautiful dance, then you're no longer teaching stratagems, right? You're no longer teaching the spiritual side of it, because that part's twice removed on its sister's side.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right now, all you care about is doing Eye of the Tiger with your leg kicking in different directions. You know what I'm saying? That musical kata, right?
Right.
And stuff like that, And again, why are you kicking that high?
Yeah.
Ever. You know what I'm saying? Well, because it looks nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's a beautiful dance that you got right there. The stunt team, again, don't get me wrong. The stunt guys will love you 5 million ways a Sunday. They will love to have you on there. Yes, come do the stunts with us, this, that, and the third. I would love to believe that some of these stunt guys understand, well, no, we actually know martial arts too,
right,
and stuff like that, but we also know it's going to get us paid.
Right.
So we're gonna again, Peking opera.
It's good entertainment.
It's good entertainment, like a Jet Li, all these folks, Jackie Chan. There's nothing in my mind that doesn't make me think that Jackie Chan couldn't fight in real life.
Right.
But
he is a martial artist.
But yeah, because he's a martial artist, and then he also look, I'm going to make films.
Right.
I'm going to do all these extra things. These are the byproducts of this art.
Right.
that I got really good at. You know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. I understand the rest of this stuff. It's not fighting.
Right.
This is me making it look like a fight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. This is the expression. I'm dancing. I'm having a good time with it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. You know. So no, it's really dead on. And I just think that, once again, I backpedal a little bit and just saying that it's really based on the instructor and the instructor's experience and really breaking down because everything that we're dealing with out here, like I said, like you said before, self-protection, the best practices of what you need to know. All right. And so it's really the intelligence, the information part of it. And that's really what keeps you safe. Okay? And so when we talk about war, and folks need to understand, war is not, it's not something to fantasize about. I know we watch it in movies and we get moved by it. Some of us get drawn to tears watching this stuff. But just tasting a little bit of violence. It's
Gaza.
Yeah. Listen,
I'm like that right now. We're dealing with in real time.
And so now
civilians get killed in war all the time.
And so now this is something we also need to understand, that we're in the U.S. and we're in our own little bubble. So yes, my martial arts is perfect for this little bubble because you know what? Bombs are not blowing up next door. Okay, so yes, I can go into those other aspects of it and take my time and nurture it like raising a plant, a tree or something. Okay, but in areas like that, I wouldn't waste my time going into that. Not like that. No, you're just going to be learning how to kill. Kill now, kill fast.
Yeah, kill now, kill fast. Get out of there. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like, but I guess that's the point. And you. No matter there's no good side to it. I like that's one of the things I really want folks to take away from it. Don't matter who started it. There is no real good. There's no good outcome here.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, innocents are dying.
Yeah.
Innocents will be killed.
Yeah.
But it's war. Innocents will almost always be killed.
Yeah.
This is why it's such a horrible thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know why. I do know why. The mainstream media, television, movies romanticize war.
Yes.
Even though we all seen Games of Thrones, right?
Yep.
We all know like what happened to the Lannisters, and right. I'm like,
Right.
And I mean, if you take away the sex aspect of that, because it seemed to be every episode, but even in something like that, we were it's fantasy.
Right.
But it depicted war. That's
War.
kind of rape,
Old
all those pillaging.
war.
Yeah, these were wars. Even in our real history.
Yes.
I'm like, all those things, that's what makes war so horrible and nothing to romanticize about. Vietnam, you know what I'm saying? The amount of GIs that committed rape or were like collecting ears and stuff like that, and having the Viet Cong. I'm hoping I'm using that appropriately.
Yeah.
Doing similar things. You know what I'm saying?
Orange.
Yeah, like just all the things that happened in that war, because that's closer to our time. Then
Right.
the Gulf War.
Yeah, the Gulf
You know
War
what I'm saying?
too
How
as
many
well.
how many guys came back messed up over that? I know people personally.
And we're not
and
just
stuff.
talking about just mentally. That's a huge part. But what it's done to the body.
Well, and even,
all right,
but
you can't even have kids no more and things
well,
like that.
I'm just talking about the people in that region.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. They, look, they always used to say the term that one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist, or another man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter, depending on how you want to look
what
at that.
side? Yeah, what side? It's kind of crazy. You're like, they're fighting for something they believe in too.
Yeah, but but it's war.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying, and that's I can't stress that part enough. It's horrible, it's terrible, and that's why we're supposed to be trying to avoid them at all cost and stuff, because of the innocent, the toll it takes on the innocent.
Right.
And again, like case in point, all the things that are going on in Gaza right now. How many of those folks are now going to be radicalized? You know what I'm saying, based upon what has happened to them. Like they're like, well,
even here, folks are getting radicalized here on this soil.
Yes, I was about to say. I said we got the protests at the college campuses, all that
yes.
kind of craziness going on, and we understand. You know what I'm saying?
And they have a right.
Yeah, well, no, I understand. You have a right to protest 5 million ways to Sunday. Not sure how I feel about destroying property. I will say this.
No, I believe those are agitators.
Oh, yeah, no, but I will say this part. Protests are supposed to make you uncomfortable. They're supposed to disrupt the norm. It bugs me out when somebody says a peaceful protest. I'm like, yeah, go over there so no one knows that you're actually protesting. And
sing some hymns.
Well, yeah, sing some hymns. It's not really going to disturb any of us. So go over there and protest. You know what I mean? That's a peaceful. I'm like, I think you missed the point of a protest. Right. You need to read some more Martin Luther King. They're supposed to disrupt the norm. They're supposed to do these things and stuff like that. However, looting, destroying of property and all that other good stuff, no, actually I said good stuff. No, all that kind of stuff is trash. That's trash stuff. You're a trash human being if you engage in that, and you're a thief. You're a criminal.
Yeah.
I will say that hands down. You're destroying property.
Right.
You know what I mean? And stealing. Looting,
yeah,
you're a criminal.
Especially if you're paying a tuition at that college. And so, I don't necessarily think there was a lot of the college students, besides being pushed to respond.
No, it was flat out. They know they were agitators. Yeah. I like that the mainstream media seems to be getting that right.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
They missed it on the Black Lives Matter protest 5 minutes Sunday.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're aware that there are agitators and there are folks in there that don't have no business being on the college campus. And some folks are anarchists. They want to just watch it burn.
Yeah.
They're like, yes, finally, let's go destroy everything.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Let's tear it all down.
Yes.
And that's the mindset.
Yeah.
All right, well, so we're at time. We kind of were going off on a different tangent on that one, so I had to kind of pull the trigger on that one because we'd really be at this for another hour or so. Real quick, a couple of real quick announcements. This year's Maze Awards, it is official. Master Ken will be emceeing the Marshall Maze Awards. Wow. On October 19th, ladies and gentlemen, you need to set the date. I do know nominations should be going out. Those that have been nominated. Now, here's the thing. Before anybody gets in their weirdness about it, folks that get nominated, I think they get a certificate. They're telling them they were nominated. Does not mean you're actually getting the award. Does not mean you have to attend the event. We'd like you to come. But doesn't mean anything. It just means that you've been nominated by your peers, meaning Barack Shidoshi and myself did not nominate you. like you were nominated by your peers, which is really chill. I love that. We have our phantom board. They'll make the decisions, and then folks they'll know. The way it works is 2 months before the actual event, the person who's won the award will then know that because obviously we want you to be there,
right?
To accept your award in person. But this year it's going to be kind of crazy. It'll be at the Ludlow Elks.
Okay.
And on October 19th, so you definitely want to set the date. We did everything in our power to keep the price the same. We are always attached to a 501c3, which is a charitable organization. We're meaning so the net proceeds always go to charity, and then the Elks happen to be the charity we're going to be working with. We are looking at doing a VIP party afterwards. That will be limited to 50 people. There'll be all this stuff will end up being on our website and stuff like that over the next couple of months. But just want to throw that announcement out there. We got Master Ken, baby.
Oh yeah.
Also, because somebody somewhere is going to hit us up and say how much, it will still be $100 a head. It is a black tie event. You want to dress to impress. The VIP, though, I think that's going to be a little bit more. Don't have a final number on that. And it's limited to 50. That's a big thing. It's limited to 50. And so we really want folks to know that it's limited to 50. And of course, it'll be with the folks that have gotten awards, so kind of the meet and greet and kind of just, everybody kind of kicking back behind the scenes afterwards. I do know we're supposed to do a crossover episode. That I can say that now too, with Master Ken.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have a crossover episode.
Oh man, that's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, so I'm excited. Like I said, big things coming this year. So many things that have been happening with the move and all that other good stuff. The maze will, again, remain here on Eastern Ave. In Springfield,
Massachusetts. It will remain at 10 Ride Dojo.
Yes, it will remain at 10 Ride Dojo. With just 2 different locations. So some of you, if you're getting our merchandise, you might sometimes see things coming from South Carolina. It's just that's where I live. But, we're still here. We're what I call it, a snowbird. So with that being said, that's that for announcements. You have anything?
No, I'm good.
All right. So once again, I'm with my partner in crime, Barack Shidoshi.
And I'm with my partner here, Israel Lopez Sensei.
And you've been listening to
The Marshall Maze.